Hey, morning, folks. It's Brian with a Far Horizons update. I'll start Dylan's log here in a minute. Um, we only had 3 players, so it was a bit tight of a game. And one of them was tied up with stuff for his house, so he didn't start. We ended up starting late, and because of that, and some things that were going on towards the end of the game, we ended up running late as well. So if you can't tell, I'm a little overcome. It's also been kind of a stressful week with my wife's boss had a aortic rupture, and at first they thought he might pull through, but as time went on, it was obvious that he had brain damage, and so they're going to be disconnecting him from life support this morning. I drove. She went to go see him yesterday. I've met him. He was a great guy. Um, but that was more. He was more than that to her. He was sort of father figure for her, giving her advice on not just taxes but life and stuff, which is something she misses in her life because her father committed suicide when she was 6, 8, something like that, when she was little. And so she's had that presence missing in most of her life, so it's hit her pretty hard. Not to be a downer, but just things going on in life, right? Okay, begin personal log. 11/14/20. Wow. Some of the things that are going on in the universe just make you think that it's not just coincidences. So we get to Marduk, and I just try to do some feelers for local connections from previous times I've been here. And we had a handler here who was a lawyer. His name was Frank Smith. And so we try to contact him, and we do some research. He was not part of ASL. He was not a employee. He was a contractor for a partnership. So we contact the partnership just to see if he's still around, kind of thing. We get passed around to an actual partner who asks for our identity, and I give him my ASL Marshall credentials, and he asked what the phone call is about, and as a previous case that he had worked that we were on. I'm just trying to contact him, and he pulls up the case file and says that all the charges were dropped, everything's finalized. I'm not asking you for advice. I need to hold of Frank, right? So I'm thinking in my head, and he eventually gets around to the fact that Frank's no longer with him. So I get a little pissy. Well, you could have started with that. Hang up on him. So we do some more research. Arthur's able to help me out, and it looks like Frank had left about 4 months ago. 4 months ago to go to Mephistopheles. Oh, okay, not a problem. But while we're hanging out waiting for our contact to show up, I take the guys down to the ancient sailing ship and the um, the pub that's associated with it, which is similar to the one on Mephistopheles. The ship is a 3-masted ship, but it's not a brig like the one on Mephistopheles. This is an actual frigate, 72 guns, 2 decks. It's a much bigger ship. But we check out the pub. Its layout is similar, trying to reproduce ancient Earth establishment kind of things, called the Admiral Benbow. Um, And it turns out that it's associated with the Smuggler's Inn on Mephistopheles, almost like a chain kind of thing. Thought that was pretty cool. The frigate's name is the Espinosa, and it's got a little pirate flag hanging off the back, so it's kind of cool. But I'm looking around the pub because I'm hoping that it'll be a similar layout to the Jolly Roger back on Mephistopheles. And in the Jolly Roger, there was a booth that the captain of the ship was his favorite booth, and that's where I found the diary. I was like, okay, we can find something here. I told the guys all this stuff as we're walking around looking at stuff because there's pictures against the back wall, like was in the other place, and it turns out that Phelps, the attorney that was investigating the artifact stuff that we had done previously, is in these pictures. He's part of this whole Pirate Day thing. There's also a picture of Jimmy, the outfitter from Zoctal, who had died with the giant squid ice boat sailing accident. And it's set in a series of panels with other pictures that have got, there's a date in the back of one of the pictures that is after when he was supposed to have died. So there's something else going on here with all that whole thing. The next day, we take a tour of the ship. It's cool. In the captain's cabin is a table with a treasure map laid out on it. It's not the same map as the one on the Jolly Roger. Maybe it might be something like that. But it is, as it's a treasure map, and there's the X marks spot kind of thing and all that stuff. And it looks familiar. I remember there was an ancient Earth book called Treasure Island, written by some guy named Lewis, or Lewis Stevens, or something like that. And so we go back to the pub, see if there's a bookshelf, books on. Yeah, there is. We check. Is the Treasure Island book on there? So I open up. I start flipping through it, look to see if there's clues to something that may fall out. But nothing falls out, and so I'm just kind of skimming through. And the opening scene is about Master Jim Hawkins, and the name of the inn is the Bembao. The treasure map belonged to a guy named Flint, and the name of the ship in the book is Espinosa. So somebody's theming a lot of stuff along. It's really, really cool. Well, anyway, a couple days later, we get an email from ASL. We're to attend a briefing, and there's some flight details the next day kind of deal. But we're to meet after dinner at the Galarby room at the Anzac Club. And while we're there, it's an expensive place, so we're all dressed up. While we're there, Ronald, and his last drink gets slipped a note underneath the napkin. So he pulls out and starts looking through it. His directions, exit through the kitchen doors, go through the kitchen to the fire exit, take that to the roof, go to the rear service area. There's an external fire escape. Go that down, take that down to the street, and wait for contact. And there's a note about if the node itself gets wet, that it will, turn to ash and self-destruct kind of thing. So as we all kind of take a look at it and, memorize it kind of deal. He spills some of his drink on it. We start cleaning up our mess a bit. It goes to ash. He brushes it all away, and we go out. We go to the kitchen, go through the kitchen. Nobody pays any attention to us, which dealing with the whole ASL underground makes sense because they know what's going on. This is probably some kind of a front. Follow directions. Get down the street. A limo pulls up. The driver gets out. The doors open. We climb in. It's a big limo. There's room for 12 people in here. And then, it takes off. The windows go dark. The cab itself actually pressurizes. After about 20 minutes, Arthur notices, hey guys, I think we're actually flying. An hour later, we're able to feel the vehicle settling down. And when it finally stops, and the windows untint, and we get out, we're in a large underground parking facility. All kinds of civilian cars here, some commercial trucks, the big semi-types, tractor trailer deals, a few armored vehicles of a type that we haven't seen before, so something new. We're greeted by a Master Sergeant in the Confederate Systems Alliance uniform, and they're the rebel guys. We met them on, well, the city was New Delhi. I forgot the town it was called, when we were dealing with the desert and the Bechtel mining thing. And he escorts us through a facility. We, see a number of other folks that are wearing the same uniform. And we're brought to this auditorium. There's only a handful of people up from the stage. He takes us up there. There's some kind of an officer who, a captain, who dismisses him, and he goes back his way, and they take us up to the stage kind of thing. There's several folks in uniform here, but there's also a number of folks in civilian attire. The officer turns to us and says, welcome, seated. We're going to brief you on the mission. Please hold all your questions to the end, that kind of thing. And then we get the lay down on stuff, some stuff we already know about the Corellians. They've modified their ECM, EW capability codes, and they're making alterations to the hardware in their ships. And that these modifications are going to counter the adaptations that the Rebel Alliance, has already made to get past their sensors. So we're going to lose that advantage. So they want us to go and recover or capture information about these adaptations. They can provide aid and assistance. They throw up on the screen there the starship, the star base designs, some particular instances. There's the ground floor there, how it's all kind of laid out at the beginning with all of its Nova guns and hard points. Holy cow. And then two specific floors. One is the main landing deck, which has got the cargo lifts, for arriving spacecraft, and then a computer level, which is the level they want us to go to try to tap into a computer system. And they've got this device we're going to hook on. That's going to osmosively, is that a word? You clap it onto outgoing, Cat 1 cable kind of stuff, and it tracks in through that to do this search. It's got a built-in search routine to search for this information that we're looking for. It's a lot of data. It's a huge database. It's going to take time. They expect us to be there for several days. Now at night, there's going to be roving guard patrols and possible janitorial staff that we'll have to avoid. But during the day, we got to hide out, and there are places within the elevator shafts that we can hook into that'll keep us safe and out of the way during the day. So, what are we going to do? How do we get stuff? That kind of thing. There are the station itself was built pre-Corellian occupation, so they know some stuff about it to begin with. Plus, during the first and second rebellions, they had access to it and were able to get some more information. And they have some assets that are inside. There are mines external to the facility. There's a force field that is usually not up. It does pop up for testing on occasion. There are several vulnerabilities of the station. The first is an airborne insertion. And while their sensors can scan the surface for flight and stuff, our counter ECM stuff, or maybe it's just ECM, our ECM stuff will work for a very limited amount of time. And we'll need to use it twice, once for the insertion and one for the extraction, so we need to be careful about how much we have it on. Once we get within the security perimeter, we need to access the subway systems. If we're doing an air insertion, it'll be through these cargo containment elevators. And then access the actual elevator shafts themselves to take us down to the computer level, where we need to access the main database, initiate the program, do the search, and copy the data. They've got 3 disks. They want duplicates of all the information. I'm guessing one for each of us to carry, kind of thing. There's a subway system, then we can use maintenance hatch kind of stuff to infiltrate and exfiltrate through the system to the elevators. Our greatest challenge will be crossing the cargo deck area to the elevators. And the other mission earlier said they're expecting to take several days, and we'll have to hide out during the day. Okay, so they ask us how we want to pull this off, and so we start talking about the different option stuff, because we're not that great at grav belts. And they talk about how they could give us some parachutes to augment any difficulties we have. In fact, we start talking about programming. So they can program the grav belts so that if we lose control, it will stabilize and do a forced landing, programmed landing kind of thing. So the idea is we're going to be in a commercial flight. We'll payload drop out as some other ship is going to their station. So we can use it to mask our signature. So our concern is, okay, where is it going to land? We need to land, completely opposite. It's only a couple hundred meters across, kind of thing. So we kind of figure all that stuff out. For exfiltration, we figure the best way is once we get outside all the perimeter stuff, it's on an island. If they got some kind of submersible, then it can pick us up and just take us out. But it's not going to just pick us up. They want us to dive down to it. It's going to stay down at the bottom of the bay, kind of thing. We're going to swim with that kind of stuff. We get some rebreathers. We'll have some extra dive gear that they'll pre-plant at a certain area underwater. I've done some scuba, so I can probably get to it. And so that's the plan. Also, the submersible gets over to Swenson, where they have a safe house that we'll hang out at. It's got sewer access. There's one from a parking garage. We'll come up into the safe house, and then we'll hang out there until they come to pick us up. And they answer a few of our questions, and then they hand us off to Q Branch. And the first thing they do is they give us these emulator buttons, which I've used before, that incinerate bodies and all the soft materials, hard hardware like belt buckles and stuff like that don't turn to dust. So we'll have to collect those up, make sure to not, again, leave no evidence. Although it's kind of odd that one of the guards or whatever just disappears. And then we have a big discussion about that kind of stuff because one of the guys asks us, "Hey, you found any sweaty needles or anything like that?" And we're going, if we get to that point, we've compromised the mission. We're going to get killed. But we figure, even if we get with our lives, it's something. So, and Raynell gets a needler. I think Arthur got one too. And I get fully silenced 10 mil because if we're going to start taking people out, we need to take people out. Did ask about getting shot gloves because I'm thinking the safest thing is to just sneak up behind. If somebody's out there and we know they're going to find us, sneak up behind them, put them out, kind of deal. It's not guaranteed out, but it's something. So we get that. They hand us the standard sneak suits and discuss how they work and stuff with us. Again, they've got these powered ECM capabilities, but they have limited effectiveness. And we've got a control switch. We can turn it on and off kind of thing. And everybody is just going to calculate, if we use it at the last minute of our fall, that should be enough to keep us covered in the initial drop. They give us some infrared lenses and a projector that'll hook to our goggles. They give us a couple of models of binoculars. Well, they give us a electro binocular. That's what kind we want. They've got these pen light kind, and then there's another one's like a box. They just have different ranges, and we don't need that much of a range. So I get the pen light kind. They give us a comm unit on our wrist. It's got 2 subspace channels, and then 10 regular channels. And it's connected with a laser communication, so we can line of sight talk to each other. They tell us one of the limos is submersible, so it'll be there waiting for us. They give us the rebreathers and tell us, and we set up the stage equipment, but we'll need to have there. They give us some safety harness stuff, so we're in these man-sized alcoves in the elevator shaft. We're actually safe being held in. We get a mechanical set of lockpicks and an electrical set of lockpicks, and a passive scanner that'll tie into our IR projector, so we can scan rooms looking for cameras and stuff. Because all the cameras will be like recessed, and we'll be able to access them. But if we actually know they're there, that can help us out. And then we're hoping that Arthur will be able to plug into the system and actually do some scanning for camera systems. Actually, it was Renal was looking for something that we could hook up so that we can actually tap into the lines and we can see through the cameras to see what's happening during the day and that kind of stuff. We also make sure we got a dagger, enough food for a few to several days, some standard drugs, recovery drugs, stimulants, that kind of stuff, and a shield belt, because just the shield belt will tell everybody with sensors that, yeah, we're here, but if we're running for our lives, that's better than nothing. Okay, so they take all of our stuff and outfit us here. They've got some doubles that will take our regular stuff and fly us off to wherever we're going to meet up with them later. We don't know where yet. And they'll be taking all of our stuff. So we're just wearing our sneak suits and have our gear for the op. We get inside a vehicle. We get driven out onto flight deck kind of thing. We're hanging out for a couple hours, getting the ship, hang out again, because they're waiting for a flight path that'll pass when they got word of another ship coming in. That word happens, we take off, we're flying, we drop out, and I begin to tumble. I get way off course, but eventually make my way over so that when we actually land, while Arthur and Ronaldo are right there, I'm 100 meters away, but we both have access to the conduits get to the subsystem, so just kind of laser direct, right? Hey guys, you go down there, I'll go down here. We'll meet down the bottom. So we all go down. We eventually meet because all these subsystems will eventually connect to the subway system main lines, the trunks. When we come up near Station 13, it was Friday the 13th. That should have been a bad thing. Maybe that's why I started tumbling. Anyway, so we come up on 13. We come up on the left side, and there's an elevator over further on. There's also another on the other side, but we figured that all the traffic we get coming in and coming off on the right-hand side, so we'll just take the left, give less access to being seen or interacting with people. We head over to the elevator and kind of just hide out against the wall. Somebody does pop their head out of one of the offices and looks around, but then goes back in. There's no deal. Eventually, somebody comes off of the elevator and they head over to Station 9. So we jump into that one to then access the conduits. And they got these ladder stuff. And so we start going down. We get down to the computer level, and I believe it was Arthur noticed. No, it was Reynald who noticed some detailing on some of the cabling. Going, hey, isn't this computer cabling? And Arthur verifies that, and so we surmise that right here we have access to a computer line, main trunk kind of backbone. I think is one of the guys called it, kind of thing. So we just hook our stuff in right there, and with this direct line and with Arthur, popping things along, we've got the data in like 6 hours. So by this time it's 10 o'clock in the morning, and we're not going to do anything until later on tonight. So I was going to say, guys, should I sneak around and go, hey, why don't we just do a passive view, just collect whatever's running through there. That's just some bonus stuff for later. So he does that, and we just hang out till nightfall, and then we go back up. We hang out at our level, waiting for an elevator full of people to come and then disperse. And as they disperse, we climb back into the elevator to the top. Climb back into the elevator and Jimmy the doors back open, and we head over to Station 13. When we get there, some folks at some other offices further down are outside talking, looking around. So we're trying to just blend in the background with our sneak suits, kind of thing. But then they go on doing their thing. We climb down to the subway system, but this time all together, take their way out. Get back to the top. Oh, instead of going back to the top where we were before, we decide that we're going to just take one of these subsystems all the way out through one of the warehouse areas. So we're actually further out and only have one set of walls and defense mechanisms to get by, instead of doing 3. So we come out and one of the warehouse areas on the southwest side, because that's the side of the island that our gear is going to be in the water, and where the submersible is waiting for us further out in the bay, kind of thing. And Reynald, as he peeks around the corner of the warehouse as we're going towards the wall, he spies a couple of guards, just one of these dog things, and so he backs guards, dogs. So we back around the other side of the corner of the warehouse, and we grab up to the top. And it's a flat top. It's got a bit of a lip ridge kind of thing, so we kind of lay down to hide and kind of thing. And I can overhear the guys talking about the stupid dogs chasing rats again, kind of thing. So I wait and I wait. Okay, they're gone. And then we just kind of grab from building to building, getting closer to the wall. The last jump, we have to go up over the wall, turn on our ECMs, and jump. And again, I do a slip or something as I'm taking off, and I end up hitting the ground, hurting my shoulder. I get up, look around, I don't see anybody, but I can hear guys on the other side running. So I make my jump over. Eventually, it's like almost a quarter mile, if I remember right, to the edge of the island from where we are. We've got our ECMs on, and we go. We get to the water. We swim out. I dive down, get our gear, put mine on, go up, give them theirs. And it's like a little snorkel deal, fins, and our rebreathers kind of thing, so we can end these water jet things. So we can, go fast, but we can stay underneath the water to have a minimal signature. And off we go to about where we're supposed to be for the limo of the submersible. And then I dive down, look around. It takes me a bit, but I eventually find it. So I come to the guys, okay, here we are, tracking on me. They come down, we all climb in, water disperses, it pressurizes, and off we go. And the guy who's driving, pops a little map on the screens first, shows, hey, this is what we're doing. And they said, we want to go straight to Swenson. And we, go around, go outside the bay, straight out the bay, circle around the backside of the peninsula that Swenson's on. He comes out on the beach, starts driving around, gets on the roads, comes to the backside of Swenson. He drives through town and all around, asking us where we're going to get dropped off. I'm thinking the parking garage. Because that's, limo pulls the parking garage to rest between, runs or whatever, But instead, he pulls into an alley, says, tells us to watch out for the middle of watch our feet, and the floor opens up and right over the top of one of these access hatches to the subway or the sewer system. We pop that up, drop down, get to the safe house, pop up. While we were swimming out, Renaud noticed that there were searchlights in the water going around the island. And so once we're in the safe house, we clean ourselves up. Our clothing from the previous night is here, so we change into our stuff. Pack everything else into go bags, and just start checking out the news and stuff. What's been happening? Was there any word of a lost fisherman over by the island, by the base or anything? No news at all. So we just hang out, watching news and stuff, just to see if anything pops up. Nothing does. A couple days later, we get a call. Tells our taxi will arrive in about 35 minutes. And, to be ready, kind of thing. So, well, they don't say that, but we know we need to be ready. And this town car kind of vehicle shows up for the safe house in 35 minutes. And I recognize it as one of the cars that was in the garage. So the driver, opens the doors, pops the trunk. We put the bags in the trunk and climb in. And as we're driving around, and he drives around for a while at first. He tells us that this vehicle is fully loaded, and he tells us about the different seat stations. There's one that's got all this comm gear. There's another that's got ECM and EW stuff. There's one that's got access to a turret, a gunner turret, and one that's got like defensive systems. They'll drop out little anti-personnel mines and stuff like that. Quite the car. Eventually heads out to Twin Forks, or tells us, hey, we're heading out to Twin Forks. Just before we get to Twin Forks, these two highways kind of merge, and there's a hover car. Well, we notice a hover car in the air above some kind of checkpoint. And so, we just drive casual, and they actually pull us over. They're not pulling everybody over. They pull us over to go through the checkpoint. That's for our papers. Give them our stuff. There are no Corellians here, but these are local Corellian security personnel. The guy takes our papers and goes back to his car, gets on the radio, have Louis Reynald get on the comm gear and listen into what's going on. And he talks about suspect 1 being verified, I think was the word, and suspects 2, 3, and 4. So we know something's up. The guy comes, and the guy is told to follow us, but at a distance, kind of thing, or follow suspect 1 at a distance. So the guy comes back, gives us our papers, and about your way. So we go off like, hey, dude, you've been made. You need to let your bosses know, and we need an alternate plan on what we're going to do now. So he's making calls as we're driving around, and we get into town, and he's driving all over inside Twin Forks. As he's getting discussions and getting feedback and trying to decide what to do. And so, okay, they tell us that we're going to split up, and that we need to make, us, the 3 of us, need to make our way to Mindendee, which is a little town northeast of here, to the Cafe Ori. And then he drops us off. We grab the bags out of the back, and we check into a hotel. I'm thinking, order Taylor, get some new clothes, because we're dressed the tees right now. And also says, hey, dude, let's just go to a gift shop and buy some t-shirts and sweats and stuff, just local thing. So, okay, we get the standard tourist local gear. Go into our room, we clean up, change. And then he wants to head out to the seedier part of town and chill in a bar for a while to see what information he can pick up. See if we can't, find a trucker who's heading out to Mindendee and just get a ride with him, kind of thing, is what he's thinking. So we take our stuff and we head on out. We book our room for 3 days and then just take off for we're going out for the town, out on the night in the town, out for a night on the town. There we go. He finds a bar. He's doing his thing. I'm just kind of watching his back, see if anybody was following us. And we're trying to figure out what's the best way to get to Mindendee without being obvious, because if whoever's following us knows we checked in that hotel, if we take a taxi, they're going to know who it is, and they can interrogate the taxi driver where he dropped us off, that kind of thing too. So we want to try to avoid all that kind of stuff. That's why we wanted to try, if we get you with a truck or something, they can take us, and there's nobody knowing. But he's not able to pick up anything here on that kind of thing, so we're trying to, what we can do. Oh, there's a river, there's a forest, we figure there's got to be trails out there. We can do a hiking thing if we can get, take a bus that goes through in the main road, just, hey, drop us here, we're going to the park, kind of thing. It would be the safest way to go. So we head over to an outfitter and we get hiking and camping gear, weekends worth of food, that sort of stuff. And then we get on a bus. We get out to one of the dirt roads going out to the nature areas, and hey, drop us off here, dude. And off we go, and We do our hiking. By the time we get to the forest, the edge of the forest area is dark. So we go on in, camp for the night. We do notice searchlights and stuff south of Twin Forks happening during the night. Um, Next morning we get up, make breakfast, get ready, and it's a 15-kilometer hike. So we figure we'll get to Minidee about noonish, which shouldn't be a big problem. Off we go. No encounters during the day. We don't see anything flying around. The contrails, high aircraft flying. That always happens, but nothing local, nothing unusual that we can see. We get to Minidee, small town. Gas station, city hall, general store kind of stuff, and there's the Cafe Ori. So we drop in there. Waitress comments on, looks like you guys out hiking. Yeah, coffee all around. I'll have steak and eggs. I want a piece of rhubarb pie with ice cream and heat that thing up. That kind of deal. Trying to be friendly and stuff, and she does all that. And when she brings the pie out, she mentions that their pie is even better than the Benbow. And I say, yeah, but it couldn't be any better than the Jolly Roger. And then she makes a comment about the Espinosa, and I make a counter comment about shoot, what was the name of that ship? I know I had it somewhere. Where is it? Well, anyway, we can do this banter back and forth where she's giving me clues of the pirate stuff here. I'm countering with clues from the pirate stuff in Mephistopheles. So this waitress is obviously our contact. And then she goes in the back to she mentions that she knows a couple guys are going to be hiking up towards Dylnn, and Dylnn was the town we're supposed to have gone to in the first place to get off island. And they're locals if we need any, directions, that kind of stuff. And if we're heading that direction, they should be, happy to just hook up with us and that kind of thing. And well, hey, hiking with company is always a good thing. That'd be great. And so she goes back to make a phone call. When she does that, engage encryption. When she goes to do that, I try to invoke my long ear ability, which is using the stuff that we learned through the pattern on the bug planet, Procyon. Man, I've tried using that before, but it doesn't work very well. So, I concentrate, meditate for a second, focus, and then try to just listen to where she is. And I get this horrid pain in my head. And I mean, it hurts. It hurts bad. As bad as my shoulder does when I landed on the ground. And I just get completely exhausted. And just kind of slump in my seat. I have no idea what's going on. I'm not sure if I'm really conscious anymore. She comes out, ending encryption. Can't really hear, back there very well. And she comes out and tells us that her friends are actually getting ready to leave, so they'll be here in just a little bit. And personal log. And that's where we ended the session. Like I mentioned earlier, we started late, so I normally like to end at midnight because I want to be playing on Sunday kind of thing. But we ended up ending at 1 because we had a lot of stuff still so flowing. I was trying to figure out where Bruce was going to find a decent ending spot, and I figured, hey, the cafe is going to be a good spot. We get to 1 o'clock, hey, let's end here, which we do. It turned out that the psionics for this system that our GM is running is it's from the Iron Crown Enterprise's spell law. That's what he's using. The mentalism list is the normal psionics. This long ear stuff that Dylnn knows is an essence style of magic. In Iron Crown, there are 3 styles of magic: essence, channeling, and mentalism. which kind of tie in to Runequest, or at least Runequest 2, where you've got Spirit Magic, or maybe 3 too. Yeah, Divine Magic, or a Rune Magic kind of thing. Oh, it's more like Runequest 3. Well, it's repeatable, so maybe not. But well, we don't know because I haven't done any Divine Magics yet. Um, and then sorcery, those kind of things. So this long year is essence stuff is like sorcery. We have a very low percentage with it, whereas our mentalism stuff is at our power times 5. And I fumbled my roll. I rolled a 100. So he had all this massive damage occur to me and other stuff. He mentioned to Renault that he noticed something happening. I didn't quite catch the whole deal. Um, something dark and like I said, like there's something else going on besides just a fumble with magic here. And I don't know if that's because it's essence or if it's because we got it from the pattern on the bug planet that may be tainted in some way or tied to them or some weird kind of metaphysical thing going on. So more questions. Actually, I started to have questions about the mechanics of casting essence. So I'm going to talk to the GM about that later. Okay, this is how I understood how it's supposed to work. Is that how it's supposed to work? Because apparently it takes more magic points than I was expecting to expend. But that may have been from the fumble. Now, I need to get that all straightened out. Anyway, shoot, 46 minutes. Sorry, guys. Happy gaming.